pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we start the meeting, we'll take a small moment of silence for Lee McCabe. He passed away yesterday. He was a driving force in getting this building for the city, and he'll be greatly missed. Okay, we'll start with the consent items.
Make a motion to approve the consent. I'll make a motion to approve the consent
I'll
items.
second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Resolutions 2024-01, adjusting rates and fees.
I'll make a motion that we approve the adjusted rates and fees.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on 2024 mayor and council appointments.
I'll make a motion to approve those appointments. I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on 2024 road closures for events.
I'll make a motion that we approve the 2024 road closures with one caveat, that if there is one that comes up that we are not anticipating, that we consider it as a council.
I'll second that
Yeah,
motion.
you always do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Phyllis, you're in the second on that?
Yes.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on purchasing the City of St. James back jetter truck for $10,000.
I'll make a motion that we approve that purchase.
This would come out of the street capital account.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on changing city council meeting dates due to holidays.
I'll make a motion to change the city council dates due to holidays.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss and take appropriate action on personnel recommendation of 4% raise increase on contract employees.
I'll make a motion with the recommendation of 4% increase.
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Citizens communication.
Jim?
My usual subject. My neighbors to the north, it's been a slow process, but they have made some changes over the last 3 years. Can't say I'm totally pleased, but they've tried. But here's something I would like to ask the city to address. New Year's morning at 1:20 a.m., a truck pulled in, backed up in the residential area, reefer and truck idling for 30 hours. They weren't open. This weekend, they were closed Saturday and Sunday. They pulled a reefer away from the loading dock. It ran for 48 hours. I don't even think they'd objected. I don't know what would trigger, how you would trigger to enforce it, but, I mean, we pay taxes too. I understand they have a business to operate, but if they're not open, am I the only one who thinks this is wrong?
We just put a
You're not.
2-hour parking on it, or what?
Well, it's on private property. I don't
Yeah, but
know.
when it borders residential in the south, go to Minnesota Police Patrol.
So they're-
Call the police department, like we told you before, Jim.
But
Give us a
I
call.
shouldn't have to do it all the time.
Well, you know, when we're patrolling, if we see it, we'll talk to them, we'll get things moved. But if we're doing stuff and somebody brings it to our attention, you've got to
I'm
call.
sick of bringing it to your attention. I have called the comm center so many times in the middle of the night, Rob, and usually it gets handled. It has been better. They've adjusted that. But is it possible that no overnight parking? I know it's private property, but when it borders residential and you have that running all night, especially when they're not in operation, there's got to be a simple way to handle this.
Is that something you can look into, Pat?
Oh, we have to amend the ordinance and give them notice that we're going to.
As far as,
Either under public nuisance or noise violation.
Is there a way that they can maybe come to the planning and zoning commission and have them, and we can discuss these issues with them? I mean, is that something that we can do?
I think I'm with Mark on this one. I think there's a bigger problem to solve.
Not just put a temporary Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing is for, on both facilities, what's the zoning? Is it both I-1?
No, Vandenberg, I don't believe is industrial, I think that's still commercial.
So are there others? Their ability to do business. And they have made progress. I'm gonna say they've limited the number of trucks usually they're staged there during the day and night when they're in operation.
My guess is they can also talk to their contractor employees coming in, such as the
I think
semi-drivers.
it's them that are doing it. I don't think the company's aware.
No, I don't think, and maybe it's something that they can put signage and communicate with their vendors where they need to park. I mean, that's why I'm saying maybe this is something that they can come in and talk to us about, or maybe, you know,
It's potentially something we can do through zoning ordinance. We can add a 100-foot buffer from residential area for,
I think that's a great idea.
something along that line. I don't know how.
Certain time restrictions would probably be more appropriate than necessarily this.
Right.
but I think Jim, your thing is too, is you can't even be out there in the daytime and enjoy your backyard, right?
No, you can't, but they have limited the number of trucks that are back. They
So the
I
distance
gotta give them that.
is gonna be an issue, because it may preclude them from doing any business if you do it based on business.
Right.
But if you do it based on a time restriction, then that would be more appropriate, I think.
So the one point I would add to this conversation is, we had a conversation about this previously, and the number of trucks that were there, we thought it was people that weren't from around here, didn't understand the area. I did a little driving by just to see, and they're all T&K, which is from Butterfield, so they know.
But the ones they were not. One was not. The one was from out of state that ran over New Year's.
Oh, was it? Okay. Because the ones I've seen, and I've been up there, I wasn't there New Year's, the ones I've seen are all from T&K, and they're all, that's from Butterfield, so they know better, but if that's the case, then never mind.
I would suggest that we propose some changes to that zoning ordinance and start that process of the planning and zoning with them present.
And actually, that is what we are actually starting with tomorrow night, is starting to talk about the zoning ordinance. That is what our meeting is about.
so,
We would then, probably start with the industrial and read through it and see if there is any verbiage in there, in regards to parking or noise or anything like that. I'll just make note that that's what we're gonna start.
but would that violation go to Tony Downs or just the driver? Because,
You're kinda right.
well, until now, it's gotta go,
You'd have to carefully word it.
because until now, it's only down to the driver, which I think is probably why it hasn't been a big issue to them, because it just goes to
It's
whatever
a
the driver.
tightrope, Cody. I mean, they're a valuable business. I understand that. They need to conduct business. But it seems like it should be fairly easy to solve. Do they, I mean, I don't know how their operation necessarily works, but for long-term parking, do they have designated areas? No.
Well, they do, but
No.
You know, it's also something we can do in the planning and zoning is also if industrial meets up with residential, they have to put some sort of sound barrier in as well. Kind of like what they have at the ethanol plant where they have those big tarps. I mean, I've been there. It's amazing the noise reduction that they have.
And
So,
that's been suggested before as well.
Well, I mean, I think we need to
But
pass.
I think if it's in the ordinance, then we can.
Yeah.
agree with that completely.
Something that needs to change in language that needs to be put in, that everybody should be involved in that process.
And that is enforceable.
Exactly.
Can you see if Jason or TJ can,
Tomorrow at 5:00. I can contact them to see if they would be present at the meeting at 5.
There are some other areas in town that are probably,
That's the bigger piece, man. This is a bigger, that's why your point, Mark, is so correct about the funding. There are other areas When you live in a town like ours, you've got these things that kind of mesh together at times. Me with Dylan.
Yeah.
Just, it can get rough, but we have to sort that out and make an
Well,
ordinance that.
at your other facility, there's a church across from the one. You know, there's definitely areas where, you know, some common sense, there's some, you know,
It's consideration. But to
Consideration.
Jim's point, you got people that come from out of town. that-
Right. But if the areas are designated farther away from residential, and that is, you know,
Or
that is communicated to the organizations that are hauling to them.
well, and not to go down this road again, but if we can find a place that they are forced to park,
Right.
and then change the ordinance so that you can't park on a city street,
Yeah.
that would solve the problem. But we've got another issue to solve before we go there.
I mean, you could sue Tony Downs. Public nuisance. I mean, they're on notice that this is happening. I mean, you could bring a civil suit to them. However, I think that we're gonna come up with some solutions to the problem like this.
I think looking at the ordinance and maybe making some concessions for noise pollution or whatever. There's similar issues in multiple communities. There's a steel recycling area in New Ulm that's right next to a bunch of residential, has multiple propane cake explosions.
I was gonna say, being bombed over there, yeah.
That, they've had continual problems with as well, so.
I believe they are aware. I invited the president and the owners of the company to come stay at my house for a week to see firsthand the text. I was blocked on the phone.
They're on notice. Yeah.
Are you sure you're not blocked on their phones?
I couldn't.
Kids have anything?
Got one over here.
Is there any way we can take a look at dealing with sanitation or contact with the city and possibly opening up and allowing another garbage place to come in? Not necessarily completely getting rid of it, but giving them some competition at all. I know I've had some serious frustrations with them, and I know a lot of other people in town have serious frustrations with them. I'm kind of tired of dealing with them, but they're associated with the city. I know there's ordinances that you guys have, and regardless if I put my garbage out there or not, I still have to pay for them to drive on the road. And I'm tired of dealing with them, and I get the same stuff from them every time I try to talk to them, is that we have to manually pick everything up and throw it away, and, you know, it's not my problem, they haven't updated their trucks. But they haven't done any of that because they're, I mean.
So you're talking about sanitation, not recycling, correct?
Sanitation, yes.
Okay, so I gotta understand this, because I have not had a problem. What's the frustration?
I know on Friday, I got a letter from them saying that my garbage was way too much or whatever else. I put 3 stickers on there. You know, I put a big garbage contractor bag in there because they don't like to reach to the bottom of the garbage can, which subsequently I have to provide because they don't do it. Put it in there and I get a letter from them, and they've tied stuff on my trash can before. I'm not trying to dupe them or anything like that. I'm putting my stuff on there. They're just always complaining about it. And being that they're part of the city, as far as we pay our city bill and that goes to them, whether they're taking our garbage or not, they still have to do it. It's ridiculous that we have to pay for that. You know, I have to come in, I gotta buy stickers, I gotta buy bags, tie that on there, provide my own garbage can. You know, if this was any other place, I would just call for a different garbage service and just go with them. But I've dealt with it, I've talked to a lot of people, I mean, obviously, you guys know I drive around and talk to people. I've heard the same frustrations from numerous people in town. So is it something we can at least have a conversation on how to deal with it?
Current contract runs through 2025.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that it was like a 3-year contract. Oh, geez.
I thought they reviewed it every year.
Nope, we've never used it
Okay.
So I'm really gonna show my ignorance here. What do we pay, to his point, about them just driving by? Because I thought we bought the bags and you put your bags out.
No, there's a fee on your
There's a
Yeah, on your water bill, in regards to refuse fee.
Maybe start paying more attention. Whoops.
What is that fee now? Is it more than $5? What is it?
Yeah, it's almost, it's like 12.56, I think.
Okay.
And to his point, I rent my own dumpster, I pay to have it dumped, I pay that fee as well. You know, monthly on top of my dumpster charge.
And I know that I've heard people say it'd be nice just to have a garbage container, not to have to worry about bags and stuff like that, so.
And that is correct.
And I believe that conversation happened like right when I came here, like 2014, 2015. And the fee, I mean, the what it would cost, it was, they couldn't justify it, the council couldn't justify the cost of the containers or how much it would go up or whatever. And
But the thing is, and this I never understood from previous, when's the last time it's actually gone request for proposal?
I don't believe it. Yeah, because I think you have it built into the ordinance that we basically go with Medeli sanitation.
Right.
It is for you guys to decide and tell me what you want me to bring to the table.
But there is substantial issue with not having, especially now, you know, it was different when there wasn't recycling bins. But now that everybody has recycling bins and sees how easy it is to use recycling bins and have the truck drive by, all they do is roll them out and pick it up and roll them back.
But Medeli sanitation does not have that truck.
I realize that, but
And
now
that's an investment.
I realize that, but now that everybody in the community has seen how easy that process is with the recycling portion, I think that's gonna be the driving force as to why the other thing is such an inconvenience, why the other operation is such an inconvenience.
You guys?
I want to add something to that, but before I do, I want to caveat something. So having been in the Air Force for the number of years I was, you were told a way to take your trash out, and you took your trash out that way. And so I grabbed the orange bags and put them on the curb, because that's the way you were directed, and you lived on a base, that's what you had to do. I say that to say this, my concern is, let's be very careful before we really tremendously adjust fire from where we've been for 40 years or more with a company that's not from Adelia. Because to be honest with you, the recycling folks are a whole lot harder to deal with, to me, than the sanitation folks. So maybe we fix the problem with sanitation and have that conversation before we start to tremendously adjust fire.
Well, and I have no problem with that, but what I'm saying is competition makes better service in a lot of cases, and it keeps people honest. So, going request for proposal and maybe seeing what the proposals look like, you know, and maybe it's a next review period, or maybe it's not until this contract's up, but keeping that as an option is not a terrible idea. Because I know that it was talked about 2 contracts or 3 contracts ago.
There may be a hard conversation we need to have with the leadership at Medeli Sanitation.
Yeah.
I would hate to see, personally, I'd hate to see it leave, because.
This has been brought up before.
Then
You know,
we talk to them.
Right.
And Glenn, to be fair, I don't want to see them leave either. Just, I know that I've talked to them and I've talked to Lisa. I've had conversations with her on various different things. And every time I've been talked about, or every time I've talked with her about that, it's been, well, we hand load these things, you know, and this and that and whatever else. And, you know, they haven't updated their trucks because it costs this much to do that. Well, you know, as far as the tag systems of Medeli and taxpayers, that's not our problem that they didn't decide to update their trucks. And the reason they haven't updated their trucks is because they don't have any competition. They're in a contract, so they don't have to do that.
Well,
They don't have any.
I see what you're saying, I really do, Travis. It may not be that easy. There may be, the reason they updated their trucks is because they cost a lot. And the return on investment for an economy this size is not that easy. You know, if they were doing all of Waterloo County, that'd be a different animal.
But I believe they have like Louisville too, don't they? They have them for sanitation, or they go with somebody else too now?
I think it's just.
I don't know, Lisa would have to answer to that.
So,
I mean, I see cost savings I understand that the truck may be more expensive, but at the same time, you can have one person doing that route instead of 2 people doing that route.
Yeah, that's also a fair point. It's, you know, they're used to doing the old way of business, and they need to evolve. I see your point. Yep. So we need to have a conversation. Do we have a conversation?
Who wants to be involved in the conversation?
So who's on the solid waste board?
We just appointed him. Me?
Yeah. No, I'm not, am I?
Len and Cody are.
There you go.
Len and Cody, we'll relay the meeting and we will then discuss the concern.
I don't cast up the chain of command, so I will have this conversation first before I send it to the mayor.
There we go. Anything else? You guys got any questions?
Yeah, good meeting. I would like to add one last thing, if I could.
Yeah.
Citizen communication, because I am also a citizen. One of the things that hit me today when I was told that Lee McKay passed away is when you look at this municipal center, if you go to towns like, I was just at a basketball tournament on Saturday in Cleveland. If you go to places like even Mapleton, which has a brand new beautiful high school, we have the best city center around. And that happened because of two people. There's a lot of heart that went into it, I get that, but two people really were the driving factor. Chris Fisher and Lee McKay. And I would like to recognize that. Okay? Thank you.
I would also, just not trying to get the last word in, but to reiterate, I had state patrol stop up this last weekend, and they got a three county area, and he came into PD and he walked around, and he said this is the best looking PD within the 3 area district that he covers. And like I said, to reiterate that point, for Lee and for Chris, you guys are an amazing job.
Except for the signs.
Some people just can't see.
Yeah?
Budget, I can help myself.
I got it.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All those in favor say aye. All opposed say sign. Motion carried.
Well, I don't